Everything you've done and will do in your life will end up being meaningless. At the end of the day, no matter who you are or where you come from, you will have the same fate: death. If there is no real meaning to us because it will all end up one way, then why should we bother continuing this life which is filled with pain and suffering? Just barely surviving on a paycheck and living the same life on repeat with a lack of motivation to break the cycle of work, eat, sleep. Or what if we accept that life has no big universal meaning and that the positive aspect of that is that we have the freedom to make our own sense of life? But then another question arises, and that question is, what is my own meaning? The search for a meaningful life has been ongoing for as long as humanity has existed. In the early ages, that purpose was religion, devoting ourselves to a God for a sense of fulfillment and purpose. God was undeniable and was the core foundation of humanity around those years, whereas nowadays religion is losing its purpose again, with less and less people being religious, leaving humanity with no unified meaning. Then what should we do? If there is no universal reason for what we are doing, then why at all try to improve our lives and try to fit into society? In The Stranger by Albert Camus, we observe exactly that scenario in the case of Marcel, I think. He is a person devoid of purpose and meaning, making him a man who is indifferent to himself and others. He is unbothered by the death of his mother and not even remembering when her death really occurred, and refuses to adhere to the accepted morals of society that he should be grieving for her or having remorse for other things that happen later on in the novel. So, is this what we want from life? A complete lack of care for others and, most importantly, ourselves? But a meaningless life does not necessarily mean that we must go down that path. Just because there is no universal reason for living does not mean that we have to give up on life altogether. A quote by Nietzsche that suits this statement is, "To live is to suffer, to survive is to find some meaning in the suffering." In this life devoid of a purpose and with suffering as one of its only constants, reside us, the individuals that make our own life meaningful based on our own internal morals and values, neglecting the societal pressure towards being unified under one goal, that of being a servant towards society. I mean, you can decide that the purpose of your life is to be a fucking K-pop stan, I don't know, and someone else's purpose is to be a fucking crackhead. I am not giving the best examples, but they are at the end of the day true. You can't really argue about the meaning of life with anyone when the only goal is to be happy, and happiness comes in different shapes and forms that suit people individually. Sure, you may view being a K-pop stan as a life purpose stupid, but someone else in this world would say the same thing for your purpose, even though it sounds perfect to you. And for those of you that don't have an internal meaning of life yet, the answer is the same. Keep living. Eventually, you will find your own true meaning, and I know I'm speaking basic philosophy, but there is no need to overcomplicate it in my opinion. Don't focus on searching for a meaning. It will come to you naturally, and until then, try to experience life in all of its forms. I am not encouraging you to be a crackhead. Don't take this out of context. And ultimately, it's your choice how you want to observe life. As a devotee to religion, as an indifferent and empty person, as someone striving toward his goals, or a member of society. Observe yourself and make that decision. There are no wrong answers to the question of how to live your life. Just know that you can be whatever you view yourself to be. Thank you for watching and subscribe.